several years now, I have urged the release of an unclassified report by independent cybersecurity experts that is titled US Telecommunications Insecurity 2022. Congress and the American people deserve to be able to read this report. This report, and I may be, Mr. President, the only senator who has read this report contains shocking details. Let me repeat that, shocking details about national security threats to our country's phone system that require immediate action. The agency has permitted my staff to read the report at their office, and this was done in 2023. However, they've marked the report unclassified for official use only and have refused to provide copies of the report to Congress or to make it public in response to Freedom of Information Act requests. So I asked then Director Easterly to release the report. When she didn't act on my request, I wrote to President Biden. That was in February of 2024, urging him to address the serious national security threat posed by foreign governments exploiting U.S. phone carriers' weak cybersecurity. The Biden administration took no action. The agency's top telecommunications security expert was so concerned he actually filed a whistleblower report with the Federal Communications Commission. He cited his access to non-public reports and other very concerning information and told the Federal Communications Commission that there have been numerous incidents of successful, unauthorized attempts to access the network user location data of communications service providers operating in the United States. He added that foreign surveillance went beyond location tracking and included the monitoring of voice and text messages and the delivery of spyware to targeted devices. The agency's multi-year cover-up of the phone company's negligent cybersecurity has enabled foreign hackers to perpetrate one of the most serious cases of espionage ever against our wonderful country. Had this report been made public when it was first written in 2022, Congress would have had ample time to require mandatory cybersecurity standards for phone companies in time to prevent the Salt Typhoon hacks. The agency and the Federal Bureau of Investigation have confirmed that the Chinese government hacked multiple phone companies and accessed vast troves of sensitive call records. They even co-opted the system designed for law enforcement to conduct wiretaps and access phone calls of politicians and other high-value targets. Vice President Vance said his communications and President Trump's were compromised in this hack. The press reported that then-leader Schumer was also targeted. This espionage incident was the direct result of phone carriers' failure to follow cybersecurity best practices, such as installing security updates and using multi-factor authentication. Mr. President, and I know you're very interested in the technology area as well, this is cybersecurity 101. 101. And yet federal agencies failed to hold these companies accountable. As far as I'm aware, and I touched on this, I may be the only one in the Senate to have read this report. But the contents of the report directly impact Congress, both regarding the security of the Senate's communications and issues that have been the subject of prior oversight. When Chinese government hackers broke into the major phone networks last year, their targets included several senators. The report also directly discusses issues that have been the subject of oversight by senators. In 2021, I wrote to the Federal Communications Commission with several of our colleagues raising concerns about foreign companies remotely administering rural U.S. telecommunications carriers. Our group said we are also concerned about media reports suggesting that managed service providers may be partnering with for-profit surveillance companies, creating the possibility that these companies could provide their authoritarian clients with trusted access to U.S. telecommunications networks. Mr. President, I'm going to close with this. None of these security vulnerabilities have been addressed. That's the bottom line, either by government or the private sector. The federal government still does not even require U.S. phone companies to meet minimum cybersecurity standards. So, in my judgment, we're sitting here now recognizing that it's too late to prevent the Salt Typhoon hack, but there sure is an urgency to prevent the next horrendous incident. So that's why, as if in legislative session and notwithstanding Rule 22, I ask unanimous consent that the Senate proceed to the immediate consideration of S2480.
S2480, a bill to require the Secretary of Homeland Security to publicly release in full the unclassified report titled US Telecommunications Insecurity 2000.